Welcome to Widow's Bay. There's so much to see here. Come with me. I'll show you around. There is something about these seafaring towns of superstitions, their tall tales.
We're sailing the seas back to Widow's Bay, and while some may see this as a filler episode, I think it's a filler episode done right. The show, I think, is perfectly balancing a cohesive, long-form, overarching story with some Monster of the Week type episodes that can also provide some character development. And while it's hard to say if they could ever maintain this balance if they were provided future seasons, I think just with this first season, it's a spectacle how cohesive the entire story really feels. And for this episode, we got some serious focus on Patricia, which I'm all here for. The crew takes it easy as tourists seem to flourish in town, believing they saved the day and stopped the curse. Tom immediately setting up plans to take Evan to a Red Sox game in Boston. Part of me wonders how much of the location of this island is inspired by places like Far Harbor. Either way, Patricia arrives home and she enjoys herself a nice bunless burger and hot dog, someone obviously messing up her order.
Damn it, God, Kathy, that's not water.
She complains to the staff that it wasn't really correct, she doesn't want to get anyone in trouble, and someone else seems to be spying on her making this call. Patricia's anxiety involving correcting the order and fighting for herself will evolve by the end of the episode to the point where she's literally fighting for her very own life. Tom arrives home, excited to tell Evan about the Red Sox game, only Evan sitting there with a bunch of postcards ready to read. Tom immediately outing himself by assuming Evan was in the basement.
You went through the basement?
No, I went through your trunk. What the hell is in the basement?
Evan wonders why Tom would lie about her dying during childbirth. Tom reveals what we've been theorizing about on this channel with his wife.
He had a preeclampsia-induced stroke. And after that, she wasn't right.
He claims she wasn't the same after, so he had to commit her to a home, a mental hospital. Presumably, this could be the same hospital Tom warned people not to go near earlier in the season. She was there for 2 years before she died of a brain aneurysm. Or at least, that's what he claims. I'm still suspicious of what exactly he had in the basement, and why exactly he warns people not to go near the hospital. Is it possible he liberated his wife from the hospital due to some paranormal threat? Either way, there were many letters written from his mom to Evan directly, and they're very heartbreaking. I'll read some here just in case they do carry some narrative weight down the line, but as far as I could tell, this is just a sign of cognitive decline. One letter states,
Dear Evan, I need your baby hands to get the keys and your little fingers to reach up my nose to pull the scorpion out of my brain. Watch out for that stinger. Love, your mother.
Another one claiming, Dear Evan, everyone has 2 mothers.
A mother and a secret mother. Which one am I? I am your secret mom, and I live in a secret house. They won't let me out. When you're a little older, you can come here and pretend to be that awful mailman. To review, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm already dead.
Tom reveals more hidden photos of his mom hidden behind a bookshelf, back when she had better health and was more happy. Tom revealing he hid these things from Evan because it just made him sadder than he already was. Evan wonders why they can't leave the island, with Tom revealing that things are going to be different and they already can. Wick arrives to Jerry to finally reveal what happened to her brother, but somebody interrupts them. It's as he's walking away that he spots the murderer mask on the shelf having been stolen. He heads to the Boogeyman's house and finds the door busted open. Patricia looks through her old stuff and she hears her car horn outside. She heads out to turn it off, only for the door that she had closed to be left open now. It's here we get some really cool shots. When she's back in the house, we get several wide angles, only to lead to her room that was freshly lit, now completely dark with the door partially closed. She listens close to the door and hears someone breathing on the other side before attempting to stealthily get away and gets out on the street. That is, before she suddenly sees the Boogeyman himself walking out of the house. And while she did give a very cliche horror movie scream before she ran away, I'm happy to say that she avoided avoided a lot of cliches for the rest of this episode, with the boogeyman very much resembling Michael Myers as someone who walks, stalks, and is very hard to kill. Even with a music rendition that is very resemblant of Michael Myers' theme in general. I'm assuming this is a combination of efforts between both David Fleming and Hiro Murai, very similar to stuff we've heard in Atlanta. Either way, Patricia leaves begging for help, ending up yet again at Chris's house from episode 4, which given their boogeyman history only makes things worse. Her urging them to lock all the doors, but Chris and friends don't really believe her because she finally admits that she actually lied about all the calls about the boogeyman, as theorized during my episode 4 breakdown. And whether this means she actually did hide under the bed and see someone nearby, I'm not really sure. But after being put down by Chris so many times in a very goofy way, show scene.
Just go bye-bye. Go bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.
Patricia finally loses it and decides to tase her, just admitting what we all feel, which is that Chris was the worst. Though to be fair, from Chris's perspective, her friends died when they were younger. Some other girl claimed to have been a victim as well, but to be the sole survivor, only for that to have been revealed to be a lie, and that same woman to have drugged her and at some point even tase her. Honestly, I don't blame her too much for her beef with Patricia. I'm still Team Patricia though. Patricia runs outside the house and notices when she looks back that the boogeyman is upstairs. I thought he'd maybe go on a massacre and kill all the people there, but instead he sprints and jumps out of the window, still chasing Patricia. She tries to run away before getting tangled up by her taser cords, and I guess everybody else just watched as the killer approached her. That is, before the killer is hit by someone? I'm not really quite sure because when Patricia wakes up, she already has paramedics on her. But I do appreciate her, while still being dazed and confused, asking for the keys so that she can run the boogeyman over. Either way, the boogeyman takes out one of the paramedics and she warns the other one to run away, sprinting herself. Patricia arrives at the school gas station just as Bashir had arrived while off duty. She kindly pays for gas before setting up a trap to burn the boogeyman, only for the store clerk to come out and put him out himself and get chucked into the woods like a frickin' baseball. Bashir hops out with the buckshot, and I was really hoping this would be his big hero moment, but he kinda just freezes and lets it get ripped away from his hands, getting sliced up in the stomach. Come on, Bashir. Either way, the boogeyman's about to end Bashir before Patricia can start blasting away at him with the shotty. But the blasts only seem to slow him down until they can knock him out. Patricia keeping a gun on him until they can get him all the way to the cremator, standing guard until he's nothing but ashes. Patricia, with this episode alone, if not episodes earlier, has already proven to be a fan favorite of the series. Not only being a quirky weirdo, but one who is smart and avoids every horror cliche that she can and is ready for action at a moment's notice. Patricia heads to the hospital, and I have to wonder what went down with Blondie here. Is everyone on the island just experiencing their own horror movie at this point? While at the hospital, Patricia stumbles across Bashir and his pregnant wife, confirming that the wife is in fact real, besides so many people out there theorizing that she was a ghost brought up by the island's reawakening. Patricia is confused at his wife being pregnant, assuming that she was in her 40s, before warning Bashir that they need to leave the island before she gives birth. Tom and Evan bonding over a Boston plan still reminds me that Evan has yet to ask about the basement, and maybe that was just set up for a joke, but I still think there's something more there. That is, until Wick arrives and claims that it's not over yet, a storm brewing above their heads. And spoiler alert if you haven't already seen trailer shots or I guess this opening intro, but we could see some shots of a storm brewing and one character getting ripped away into the sky. While I wouldn't be surprised if this was a red shirt or a non-substantial character, I gotta say this shot specifically got me really intrigued to watch the show and alluded to me that this wasn't some governmental experiment. And I have a pretty tinfoily theory in regards to the boogeyman. What do we know about him so far? That he called a bunch of women, ended up killing them, even hiding in spots he knew where they'd hide, and that the police found him, shot him up a bunch of times, but he was unkillable, and so they eventually buried him beneath the cement. While we don't know exactly how he escaped being buried underneath the cement, my question is it possible he wasn't acting alone that night? While obviously capable, the boogeyman we saw this episode just walked everywhere and didn't hide very well. But in the stories we heard, he was already inside of a pool cover waiting for one of his victims. I'm wondering if perchance someone else was helping him out during this time. Potentially another individual we've already seen. Someone who would maybe have access to all those girls' numbers and know them well enough to know where they would hide in a dangerous situation. Someone like a close friend, I just think it'd be cool if there were future seasons that there would be a plotline established for Chris where it was revealed that she had strong connections to the Boogeyman. This would solidify why she's so dismissive of Patricia's claims that the Boogeyman is back, and why she was so upset and convinced that Patricia was lying about getting the phone calls. Not only because she was the one to call everyone, but because now Patricia's making the town believe that the Boogeyman isn't as effective as maybe Chris wanted her to be. Let's say Chris helped out either because she's a witch or just believes in the ritualistic sacrifice of the women. Could this mean that the new group of women she's been gathering up is for another sacrifice of some kind? This is all assuming that Chris is secretly an insane psychopath. While this definitely probably isn't true, I think it would be a really cool way to take her character's narrative. However, this episode was a very solid one, and I'm really impressed with this series on how it's able to simultaneously have a Monster of the Week type narrative with a cohesive story arcing everything together. And if the series does get renewed for newer seasons, I'm not sure they could keep this cohesion up, but still, for a single season of television, this is a very solid story. I wouldn't be too upset if they wrap this series up in one go, but they do have a lot of narrative potential for future seasons. Even if for some unholy reason they were unable to bring the cast back for a second season, you could easily have a new story take place on Widow's Bay with newer characters, because Evan or whatever other character could be the descendant of Richard Warren and escape the island. Or, like some people theorize, there could be many descendants and multiple family bloodlines, meaning there's no real way to stop it. I personally would like if each season things got worse and worse, and maybe next season you could involve more of the tourists and maybe trap everyone on the island so they're unable to leave. And you could have a third season where it's winter and everything's really rough. No matter what, I'm thoroughly impressed by this show. I think it knocks it out of the park with almost every episode, and I'm glad it's finally getting the recognition it deserves. So thank you guys for helping support a video like this and getting it out there. Thank you for telling your friends and family about this show and suggesting it to as many people as you can. And thank the community for the show for gathering up so quickly and being positive and theorizing online. Which, if the show does get new seasons, like with every property, that's when the haters will come, so enjoy it while it lasts.